Hello and welcome to the Mega Driving Experience Show. And today it's our guest, the very well known Wayne Allen Root. And probably a lot of you know him. So I don't dive into the story, what you have accomplished. What I'm interested in is what were the roadblocks and obstacles on the way to your career?
How about everything? Is that a good answer? Everything. Everything's a roadblock. Listen, life is nothing but roadblocks and obstacles and challenges. That's why the very first book I ever wrote was called The Joy of Failure. And I wrote that when I was like 27 years old in the 1990s. And the book was about the fact that I had just hit it big as an author and a motivational speaker and a TV personality. And all of that came after 50 failures. I just failed and failed and failed and failed my way to the top, but never gave up and never stopped fighting. And I decided to write a book about it. And so, when I say I was successful as a speaker, I was. Successful as a TV personality, I was. Successful as a game show host, believe it or not, I was. Successful as an actor, I was. I was dabbling in politics and starting to do really well. I was already known as the king of Vegas sports gambling. And so I made success as a Vegas odds maker and a TV personality talking about sports gambling. And then I added author to my list and I wrote this book and the book did really well. So now I was a successful author. But the book was about the 50 failures I had to overcome to make it to number one, to finally succeed. And, when I give speeches or do Zoom events nowadays, not as many speeches as there used to be because people are scared of COVID, of course. But I, by the way, I think in the last year of COVID, I gave about 30, 40, somewhere between 30 and 40 presentations, business and political. And so I gave live events and I had thousands of people at my events despite COVID. In Las Vegas, we were not closed down like the rest of the world. And there were a couple of hotels that allowed 1,000 people in a room because they had a gigantic room that held 3,000 and they were allowed to put 30% in. So I still kept speaking, but a lot less than usual. I did mostly Zoom talks like this and Zoom interviews. And I always say to people, what do you call a restaurant owner who owns 10 restaurants and 9 of them fail and go bankrupt? Millionaire, because you only need one. And that's my whole overriding philosophy in life. You could call it the joy of failure. You could call it failing your way to the top. You could call it the power of relentless. I consider myself, the words I use to describe myself, Sven, relentless and a hustler. I hustle 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And my favorite saying, I'm always pitching, never bitching. That's the key to success. Nobody wants to hear you bitch and complain. But if you pitch, instead of bitch, you will make so much money, you won't know what to do with it all. So from the moment I get up in the morning till the moment I go to bed at night, I'm pitching. And what I mean by that is pitching deals. I'm a deal maker and I pitch deals and the results are kind of amazing. Let me give you an example because here's some things people don't know about me. I think a lot of people know that I'm one of the top talk show hosts in the United States. I started only 4 years ago. It's my 4th year as a nationally syndicated talk show host. And yet 2 years ago, I was named one of the top 100 talk show hosts in the United States of America. I started out, I think I was number 62 in year number 1. And then last year, I was named on that list. I moved up to like number 50, I think I was. And this year, I'm guessing I'll be in the 30 to 40 range. That's at a 330 million people. I'm in the top 50 of the United States of America talk show host as named by Talkers Magazine, which is the Bible of the talk industry. And I think that's because, my key to success there is I'm raw. I tell you exactly what I think. I don't lie. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't care if I offend you. I tell you the truth as I think it is. And I give you my opinion and people love that. So that's number one. But number two, the reason I make so much money as a talk show host is because I keep the advertising money. See, the key to life is everybody wants a salary and nobody's ever going to pay you what you're worth, ever. I don't care if you're worth $1 million a year, they'll pay you $50,000. Nobody ever pays anybody a lot of money. But if you work for free, for zero, straight commission based on how you perform, then you'll make $1 million. So in the radio business, most of the local guys make like 50,000 a year, 70,000 a year. The best make 100. And the national guys, you know, there's a few at the top who make $50 million, but most radio hosts make probably 200,000 a year, say. I make millions. And the reason why is I work forget the 3 hours a day I'm on the radio. I hustle and pitch all day long advertisers. And I get to keep the money from the advertisers because I take no salary on the radio. I get to keep 65% of all the money I bring in. And I bring in millions of dollars a year. And I keep 65% of it. There's no other radio host I know of in the entire United States of America who does what I do. And therefore, nobody makes the kind of money I do. So all I do all day long is I pitch and I pitch and I pitch every single person I meet who's in business to advertise on my show. And then I keep 65% of the revenue. And so I don't want a salary. Salary would limit me to 100,000 a year. Pitching and hustling makes me millions of dollars a year. So, I mean, when people ask my advice, Sven, it's always be pitching, relentlessly hounding, relentlessly hustling all day long. And it's an art and it's old fashioned and nobody does it anymore. Nobody understands it anymore. I'm old school. I think that's how you make money. And I know it works for me. And I've taught literally hundreds and hundreds of students this idea. I've taught thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands at speeches and events, but there's only hundreds who ever actually do it, follow it. And they send me letters every day and it changed their life. And they're making more money than they've ever made in their life. You got to be a hustler. You got to own your own business. Always own your own business because no one will ever pay you what you're worth. And you've got to literally take zero salary and work based on performance. And that makes you hungry. That makes you a hustler. That motivates you to pitch 24 hours a day. Instead of bitching, you're always pitching.
Yeah, I like that very much. The picture, pitch instead of bitch. That's a great picture. Since you have a lot of experience with shows and so forth, I'm very interested in branding and exposure and just spread the word. What advice can you give? We are a very small company compared to a lot of other things. We do those adventure off-road experiences and things like that. We do travel trips, and especially for the Mercedes brand with the G-Class. So any ideas, especially in this current time, how we can keep the momentum until we can go and hit the road again?
Well, I mean, my advice, I think, is timeless. I don't think it matters whether you're in COVID, out of COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID. It doesn't matter. It's all about getting the word out. And whether that's media, whether that's free media or social media or paid media, advertising, public relations. I mean, I'm a small businessman, Sven, and I do all of it. I mean, you have to. I mean, when people come to me and they say, I have no money, Wayne, how do I get rich? And I go, well, the conversation just ended. You have to find a way to have a little bit of money to spend on social media, on free media, because free media isn't free. You have to pay a publicist to get you the free media, and also paid media. You've got to advertise, and social media is a form of advertising, and you got to hire a PR person. And there are, guerrilla tactic, cheaper ways to do it, but you've got to do those things to get your name out there. And that's what, I wrote a book called The Power of Relentless, and I do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm a PR machine. And so for my sports business, I have a publicist. For my political business, I have a publicist. I do a lot of my own publicity in addition to the two publicists. And my book was out, Trump Rules, and I just got a check from Amazon for $25,000. That was for 1 month. And that's all because I advertised and I promoted and I let people know the book was out there. If you write a book, I guarantee your check from Amazon the first month will be zero if you don't advertise, if you don't promote, if you don't get free media. Like the best friend of President Trump, Steve Bannon, was his, basically the guy who was his campaign strategist. He put me on his show. And so that day I sold thousands of books. That's probably half of the 25,000 in month one, my book was out. If you don't have the PR and the media, you'll never get out there. So It's all a matter of hiring someone who understands social media promotion, which is really cheap, and buying social media, which is really cheap, and then try to get free media so that people tell stories about your company in the media. You get one story in the Wall Street Journal, you're set for the rest of your life. You get one story in the New York Times travel section, you're set for the rest of your life. So you just got to put everything into exposure, and you've got to be relentless personally. I'm personally relentless. I work 16 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week. You know, maybe on Saturdays and Sundays, I'm exaggerating a little. I work Monday through Friday, 16 hours a day. Saturdays and Sundays, I probably put in a 5 to 8 hour day both days. So I'm getting ahead of the competition by putting in a good 10, 15 hours on the weekend too. So, but I'm also enjoying myself on the weekend. I work out and I take hikes and I walk my dogs and I hang out with my wife to be and my kids. So, I mean, I play and I work on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, man, I am all work all the time, except for the fact that I work out 60 to 90 minutes a day in the gym, and I've got a home gym to do that. That gives me the energy to attack life and work 16 hours a day. So I always tell people it all starts for me with keeping yourself in great shape, whether it's taking walks or whether it's working out in a home gym or joining a gym, popping my vitamin pills, all of them for energy and a strong immune system, eating healthy. I'm a non-gluten eater, mostly protein, very little carbohydrates. Every time I ever cheat and eat carbs, I'm tired the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be strong, those are the ways to do it. You want to promote yourself, you better find someone who knows how to inexpensively, good bang for the buck, promote you as a publicist or a social media promoter. You've got to do that.
Yes. And where would you reach out to find the strategies to do all those things?
Well, I mean, in the old days, it was all word of mouth. And to be honest with you, I still mostly do word of mouth. You know, I'm just out and about. A lot of people know me, and I ask my friends who's a great publicist, who's a great social media promoter, and somebody tells me, and I interview them. If I like them, I hire them. But you know, I still think Google is the best way. You know, if you don't know somebody one-on-one, the best way is to get word of mouth from someone you know. But the second best way, if you don't know somebody, is to just Google social media promotion and interview 10 firms and pick one. You know, same thing with publicist, business publicist, interview 10 firms, pick one, or 10 publicists, pick one. You know, I've run through a lot of bad ones. Let me tell you, there's a lot of bad ones out there, do absolutely nothing for you. And I, you know, even with my, you know, extensive contacts, I keep hiring people that I find don't do the job, and I find somebody else. And eventually I find one that always works. But again, the only reason any of them work is because of me. If, you know, I don't leave it up to them. I tell them where I want you to send the publicity. I tell them, here's my hit list. I want these 10 publications to do stories about me. I want to appear on these 10 websites. And then I help them because I write the publicity. See, all I rely on them for is to get it out to the right person and to bother them all day. I don't have time for that anymore. But I write the PR. I let them play with it and massage it, but I write it because no one knows how to sell me better than me.
Yeah, I think that's a very good advice.
Yeah.
Because that's the point. No one knows you better than yourself.
And no one loves you more than you. You know, I mean, we live in a crazy world, Sven. It's very hard to find someone who cares about you. You know, I've had publicists, I've had agents, I've had managers. You know what they all have in common? Every publicist has 20 clients. Every agent has 20 clients. Every manager has 5 clients. And even if you have a bad month or a bad year, they don't care because one of the other ones is doing well and they get paid off. As long as they get paid for 1 or 2 of them, they don't care about the other 3 or the other 17. So in the end, nobody cares about you but you. And I find you need agents and managers and publicists, but you have to do most of the legwork for them. They're lazy or they're busy and they don't care about you. You're just one out of you're a number to them. You're 1 out of 17. So you have to bother them all day long, relentlessly. Power of relentless. Got to bother them and keep yourself on their mind all day and constantly helm them and complain to them. I'm not making enough money. You got to do more for me. If you don't stay on them, they'll never pay attention to you. You know, what's the famous biblical saying? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. And so the person who complains and helms the most relentlessly is the one who gets all the attention. It's just the way life works. There's a famous saying, nice guys finish last. Whoever's nice and quiet and well-mannered, you never make any money. The person who hammers people all day long, bothers them and hounds them and complains, I want more money, I want more jobs, I need more of your attention. That's the one who gets rich, just the way life works. So you got to find people who believe in you. You got to find people you can hire to believe in you, but you got to believe in you the most and bother them all day long. Attack, 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 and make them work hard for you.
And you're having a lot of energy, and as you said, you're working almost all day long.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to have such a high energy level all the time?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm in good shape. I'm going to be 60 years old in 2 months. And so everyone who meets me says, that's impossible. Well, I'm going to be 60 in 2 months. That's the fact. I was born in 1961. So in 2021, I'll be 60 years old in July. So that's coming up right around the corner. And so, look, I've never stopped doing what I've always done, which is your body is your temple. I pray every day. I meditate every day. I affirm my success every day, meaning I say affirmations about the things I want in life and thanking God for the things I've achieved in life. And the more you talk about them, the more they come back to you. Always be a positive thinker and talk positive, and positive will come back to you. Never be negative. So those are some little kind of the base of what I do. Being positive, believing in God, having faith, praying, and affirming and meditating. And then I eat healthy. I eat almost a pure protein keto diet, no carbs, no grains, very few carbs, very few grains, mostly organic as best I can. When you're out to eat, you don't worry about organic. When I'm home, most of what I eat is organic. So I'd say I'm about 65% organic. And I try and eat foods that nourish my body, that are good for me. I find out what I'm allergic to and I don't eat it. I find out what makes me feel good and I eat it. And then I take a lot of vitamin pills, all of which are based on energy. So that gives me a lot of energy. And once in a while, just to experiment, I go a day without vitamins and I'm so tired compared to the day with vitamins. So I know it works. I've tested it. Sometimes I just forget to take them till 12 noon. And at 12 noon, I go, why do I feel so tired and so negative and so angry? I'm like, I forgot to take my vitamins. So, I mean, it's very important that you find out the right vitamins that give you energy. And you could just Google it, or you could ask me. I'm wayneroot@gmail.com. And I give my advice all the time for free to lots of people. wayneroot@gmail.com. And I'll tell you the vitamins that I take to create tremendous energy. And then the most important one of all, more important than diet or exercise, diet or vitamins, is exercise. I work out every day, 7 days a week, 60 to 90 minutes a day. And I work out in the morning. And I'll tell you how that changed my life. For years and years and years, I worked out in the afternoon because I like to get work done in the morning. And the problem is, by the time you get to the gym, you're tired. So, because you put in such a long day of work. So now you don't do as good a workout. And then the benefit of the workout is your energy goes through the roof when you work out. Well, guess what? At that point, it's late in the day. You don't even need it. You need it all day long. So you want to work out first thing in the morning. So the energy and the optimism you get, the hormonal positivity you get from working out, that high, is with you the rest of the day. So if you're going to put in a 10 or 12 or 14 or 16-hour day, if you start it with exercise, it's 16 positive, strong hours. If you wait till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to work out, you just wasted the workout. So I learned it's not just working out, it's when you work out. So, I mean, those are the kind of things I do to give myself energy. And I will admit that is the key to my success. Everywhere I go, people love my energy and they want to do business with a guy who's got that kind of energy. So, guy or gal, obviously, it doesn't matter what sex you are, what race you are, what religion you are. Everybody loves and respects energy and passion and being relentless and being a hustler and being a pitcher. People love it and they respect it. And you'll get more and more success when you get more and more energy.
Yeah, that's I can relate to that. And did you develop this habit, or you were just born with it?
No. I was not born with it. I mean, look, first of all, I'm an SOB, son of a butcher. So I was born with nothing. You know, my father didn't have this energy, and my father didn't have any money, and my father didn't have any connections. He worked in a butcher store each day. So I come from nothing. And I didn't have this energy, but over time, you know, one of the worst, you know, they often say the worst things in life that happen to you are the best. I could tell you two bad things that happened in my life that changed my life. First of all, because I was a son of a butcher, my parents had no money. I went to a very rough middle school and high school, and crime was everywhere. And everywhere you walked, people would try and hurt you, rob you, or even kill you. Okay. And you couldn't go to the bathroom. You had to hold it the whole day. Because if you went to the bathroom, there were thugs in the bathroom smoking pot and smoking cigarettes. And the minute you walked in, they attacked you, they beat you, and they stole your money. So there's no point going to the bathroom. That was the high school I went to, middle school and the high school I went to. And a kid tried to kill me with a machete. The definition in court of a machete is a knife longer than 8.5 inches. And I beat the crap out of him and took the knife away from him, and I won. But the principal told my parents that he's a member of a gang and he's going to jail, but the other gang members will kill Wayne. You got to get him out of this school. He has to go to a private school. He cannot go to the school. I cannot guarantee his safety. Your son's going to get stabbed. So my parents went to my grandfather, who owned the butcher store, and begged him to save my life and put me in a private school, and he did. And for the last 2 years of high school, I went to a fancy, rich private school with a bunch of rich kids, and it changed my entire life. My entire life was changed by the worst thing that ever happened to me, when a kid tried to kill me. I owe that kid all my success in life, because until then, I was going nowhere in life. And from that moment on, when I got to that rich private school where there were only 10 kids in a classroom instead of 40, and they were all rich kids who were expected to get A's, I became a different person, got straight A pluses, graduated valedictorian of the school, got into Columbia University, Ivy League University, and my life changed dramatically. My outlook on life, I got confidence. So that was the first thing in life that happened that really made a difference for me. The second one was my parents both died of cancer. 28 days apart, my parents died of cancer.
Wow.
Terrible thing in life. But because of that, I knew that I probably would one day get cancer. It's probably in my blood that I'm susceptible to cancer. So when that happened, I became the healthiest person in the world. I started looking up, thousands of hours of research on the best diet, the best vitamins, how much exercise, what kind of exercise, and I became a real expert on this. And so the entire rest of my life has been powered to be healthy by my parents' death 28 days apart of cancer. So two terrible things in my life, but they both led to great things. And so the key to life, therefore, I've told you, being relentless, high energy, hustling, pitching. But you know what else is the key? Lemons to lemonade. Whatever bad happens to you, turn it into a win. Turn lemons into lemonade. I don't care what they throw at you. There's a way to turn it into a positive. And that's the story of my life.
Cool. It's inspiring, very inspiring. Thank you so much, Wayne.
Thank you, Sven.
And yeah, I'm sure everyone who is listening will have a great takeaway with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sven. God bless.
Yes, thank you. It was a great one. And I'm really inspired. It's just a couple of minutes, but you're talking from your own experience. And what I really like is, as you said, it's all about energy, and the highest energy always wins.
That's
So
it.
I think probably that's a very good, you're a perfect example. If you pitch and you are enthusiastic and you're on a high level, you will win the pitch.
That's it. You got it. Take
Yeah.
it and use it. And thank me. Thank me later. WayneRoot@gmail.com. I want to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
And
Sven.
have a nice afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.